Earlier this week, NBR told you about that $13 billion settlement J.P. Morgan Chase is working on with federal authorities over risky mortgage-backed securities it sold ahead of the financial crisis. That would resolve a bundle of civil actions brought against the bank by several U.S. enforcement agencies. And today, we learned the bank is nearing a separate $6 billion agreement with more than a dozen institutional investors and bondholders to settle private claims over those same failed securities.
Bank of America may be facing some massive fines of its own. The bank was found guilty today for fraud on claims related to bad mortgages sold by its countrywide financial unit ahead of the financial crisis, a process the company called Hustle. After a 4-week trial in New York City, a federal jury found the bank liable on one civil fraud charge and found one former countrywide executive liable on the one fraud that she was facing. Now a federal judge must decide how much to penalize Bank of America.
And a big trial began today in Detroit. A federal bankruptcy judge there must decide whether the city is really broke and if its historic bankruptcy filing can move forward. City and state officials say there's no other alternative for the beleaguered city, but city employees and retirees who would likely see their pensions decimated in a bankruptcy filing say the whole process is illegal. Scott Cohn has the latest from Detroit.
Protesters turned out by the hundreds on day one of a trial that's supposed to decide if Detroit gets relief from its creditors, including them. A big part of Detroit's $18.5 billion in liabilities is more than $8 billion in benefits for retirees like Cheryl Labash, who says she's being asked to pay for the misdeeds of Wall Street.
We are not responsible. We should not pay. I live in the city of Detroit. I pay taxes in the city of Detroit. I own a home that's free and clear and is worth nothing because of what the banks did with the foreclosure crisis here.
But the attorney appointed by Michigan's governor to take over Detroit's finances insists bankruptcy and cutting benefits is the only option.
It gives us an opportunity to have a structured environment with federal court supervision for a comprehensive solution to some very real problems.
There's no denying there are real problems. A third of the residents below the poverty line, and in some neighborhoods, the abandoned homes outnumber the inhabited ones. But the legal issues surrounding a bankruptcy are much more complicated than that. To prove it's eligible for bankruptcy protection, the city has to show it negotiated in good faith with its creditors. The union says it didn't, and that it is insolvent. The city says there's a mountain of evidence of that. The unions say the bankruptcy is unconstitutional, and the city is using pensioners as scapegoats.
You're talking about retirees that are making $18,000 a year. So we're not talking about, a lot of people with a lot of money to spare.
Detroit doesn't have money to spare either. If the city prevails, it could restructure its finances by spring. If not, recovery, if it ever happens, will take a whole lot longer. Scott Cohn, Nightly Business Report, Detroit.